Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this postmortem of my Blitz game number 517. I had the black pieces. My opponent played e4 and I went with the French defense e6. So I get the normal moves, d4, d5. And now my opponent chooses here to play the exchange variation. That's e takes d5, the fourth choice after the classical and win-hour variations, the Tarrasch or the advance variation. So takes. This is a solid way to play. It doesn't give a big advantage to white, but there's still some pull just due to the first move, a pretty balanced position, and not a whole lot of theory that you have to learn. So a reasonable way to play. You just develop your pieces normally, knight to f3, bishop to d3, and continue. Okay, so we went bishop d3. I went bishop d6. From black's point of view, and the reason why this isn't so much of a challenge is that there's no e-pawn here to come in and harass your bishop and threaten to fork the bishop and the knight. So this bishop to d6 move, which is sometimes problematic, is a good is playable in this position, and it's a good aggressive post for the bishop, looking at the king side. So he went bishop e3 here, a bit of a rare sideline. Normally knight f3, continuing to develop is the way to play. I go knight f6, use knight f3, and we both castle. And all this is about even. And now I go bishop g4. So bishop g4, let's see. In the opening book, the move was bishop e6, just mirroring white's setup, or rook to e8, both of which are very sensible. You can see the chess engine agrees, rook e8 and bishop e6. Yeah, I like rook e8 a little better between those two. Seems a little more active. The bishop on e6. The thing is, you want to move this bishop, I think, before moving the knight, although the engine recommends also knight bd7 is a possible move. I guess the knight is going to move again and the bishop will then manage to escape. Or maybe there's a slower plan in mind with knight to d7, pawn to pawn to b6 and bishop b7, something like that. Maybe it could be playable as well. Anyway, so I went bishop g5. And this is more provocative, I guess. It allows white to gain some tempos, kicking the bishop around, which he does. And then right here he goes for g4, which is a bit of a risky decision. I think just continuing to play knight bd2 here in this case, shoring up the knight would probably be a fine way to play. Then the queen is really free to move, and the pin is not really much of a problem. c3, shoring up the center, that's another move, rook e1. So this move is a bit risky, creating some weaknesses on the queen side. Now what's interesting is I only... after I moved my bishop back to g6, which is kind of the normal move, I looked at this knight takes g4, and you see it doesn't give it doesn't give an advantage to black, but it doesn't give a huge advantage to white either. So it seems like this is nearly playable. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. You've already got two pawns for the piece, and the king is opened up. And let's see, the natural move, bishop to d2, which is not the best move. It looks like you can already get some kind of advantage with queen f6. Well, it's not really an advantage. It still keeps an advantage to white. But it looks like you get a playable game. And that might be an interesting way to play, particularly in Blitz, maybe in a slow time control game. In a slow time control game, white can maybe do a better job of finding the best moves. Let's see, what is the best move for white here? After bishop takes g4, c3, just shoring up the center. Yeah, I'm not threatening to take the knight immediately. So say c3 or king to g2. King move is kind of funny. Knight to c3, knight a3. Let's just try the move c3. See how this might go. And then say queen f6. Now really threatening. Then king g2. Okay. So defending the knight with the king. How am I going to get more force in here? I need to bring the knight over. Bishop to f5 would provoke some trades. h6 is mysterious. Oh, keeps the bishop out of g5. h6. Let's try this. h6, knight bd2, and then queen to e6. Looking with some threats over here. Anyway, you get this position where white is better but not clearly winning, and it seems like black has some active ideas. Let's see, rook to h1, he puts his rook on the h-file, and I can push on with f5. Okay, activating my rook by pushing on with f5. I still need to get this knight into the game somehow to really complete this attack. But, well, that could be an interesting way to play. Anyway, some other game I'll try that. I went bishop g6, a more normal move, and keeping about an even position. He goes knight e5, and I don't play the best move here. The engine just wants me to trade on d3. I thought bringing his queen forward would help him, so let's take a look at this. He could take back with either the knight or the queen, I was worried about this one. I thought the knight was already on a good square, but after queen takes, I just develop. Now I'm really threatening to actually win a pawn on e5, f4, defending the knight, and knight to e4. And apparently black is just doing fine here. I guess I always have this move, f3, to chase the knight away. Okay, so I could have taken right away. Instead I played bishop takes knight, and maybe not the best move. He gets a little bit of an edge here. He takes back, and I post my knight here. That was the idea. Get a strong post for the knight. And now he goes f4, a move I wasn't expecting, because these are weakening moves around the king side, but in this case it's good. White is gaining space and immediately threatening my bishop. And h6 h6 is not a very appealing move here, with the idea the bishop would retreat back to h7 and be permanently shut in by these pawns. So I play f5. Okay, the engine likes f5, but in general it thinks white is doing well here. Okay, so let's see where he goes wrong. He needs to just continue developing. I think it's the very next move where he starts to slip up. So knight c3, just a very logical move. Or even exchanging here. Bishop takes e4, d takes e4. I thought, I'd have a strong pawn there and might have some, the material's even. I thought that would be an okay game, but the engine likes white there. Interesting. So, but this move, bishop e2, doesn't help his development. And also, I have this strong move, queen h4, which I did not play. But I wanted to complete my development. I get the knight to out, and it's about an even game. But queen h4 would have given me a strong edge. Okay, now he goes knight c3. Pretty logical. I go knight to g3. I decide to hop in with the knight. Okay, that is one of the engine choices there. I was wondering about this. Seems like this is a good bishop here. I'd like to get rid of it and leave him with his dark squared bishop, which is less active. So he went rook f3. Could he have played something else? Let's back up just a second. Bishop to c5 could have been played. Okay, I would still take his bishop, I guess, but bishop c5 immediately hits my rook. Bishop c5, followed by knight takes f1. Okay, so a trade of rooks. Okay, an interesting way to play, but still with an advantage to black. So somehow he's let me back into the game. I think it was just that one move, that bishop e2 move. Anyway, he chose to play rook f3. I took the bishop off. I took back with the knight. And now I have a slight edge. I think he gets back into the game one more time. Let's play on a few moves. Queen to d7. Oh, my move. I went queen to d7. Yeah, right here. After that, it's still even. Let's see. What's my most active move here? My most active move is to take on g4 immediately. Okay, I come up with this idea in a move or two, but it's better to play it right now. Actually, let's take a look at that. I thought he would just take back with the pawn, but the chess engine is indicating that he needs to move the rook. So if he takes with the pawn, then what? Then knight takes e5. Okay, that's the tactical point I was missing. There's a pin on the e-pawn. His rook is loose there. Okay, so that's why, yeah, it's a nice move then. F takes g4 exposes the pin on his rook, and so that's why rook back to f1 is a good move, or the best that white can play, but with an advantage to black because that actually wins a pawn. So I missed that. I played queen d7. He went knight to d4, and now I can get an advantage just by taking off some pieces and grabbing on g4. So he needed to play something else there. Probably g5 to close things up. Yeah, I was kind of expecting that. And then it's a game, about even. Okay, but he went knight to d4. So I took the knight off and grabbed the pawn. It's hitting the rook, so he doesn't have time to play. Yeah, actually he can't play the f-pawn forward anyway because I have a rook and a bishop covering that square. So I was a little bit worried because he does have this pawn duo here, which is looking a bit dangerous, but it seems like I can hold it in check. Let's see, he played rook g3 here. Rook f1 is recommended. If he takes, I'm just going to take with the queen with check and pick up his rook, so he can't take back. So he went rook g3. And I think, yeah, from here on out, I just have a winning edge, so I'll probably go through the rest of this kind of quickly. He's down a couple of pawns and his king is all exposed. So that's what happened here. Is you know, he built up that pawn structure here, which was really impressive, but he had to play very carefully. It's one of those things where you may have the advantage technically, but well, you have to be careful because you have exposed yourself by pushing those pawns in front of the king. Sometimes it's the right thing to do, and in fact he was better when he pushed those pawns, but then he let things slip. Okay, so now I'm just winning. Let's see, he played rook takes g4. I just bring my other rook into the game, so I got all my pieces working. He trades. His rook is still over in the corner here too, which is helping me. He goes queen to e1, and I take the bishop. Yeah, so that was just a silly move. Queen e1, letting go of the bishop. He's losing here, but he should play something like queen d2. And then, you know, I'm just up a couple of pawns and his king is exposed. Probably I'm going to take the h-pawn over here. That's funny. The engine gives rook e4 or rook h4. Oh, he's hitting my rook with the queen. Queen d2 hits the rook. Okay, so I don't have time to grab the pawn. I have to move my rook away. But rook h4 looks like a good answer there. Okay, and I would still be winning, but this just leaves as a piece. So let's just go through. I mean, it's pretty straightforward from here. I don't think he ever gets back into the game, although I probably had some better chances along the way. Well, there's never a mate there. It's always about -7. Okay, and then I went for the endgame here. So I could continue to move my queen around and pick up more pieces. Queen b6 check, it looks like. Immediately, sorry, not there. It's a nice move. Queen to b6 check. Immediately picks up another pawn because it's forking the king and this pawn. Not so easy to see, but it's there on the board if you look for it. But yeah, at this point I decide just to go for the winning endgame. It makes things simpler, particularly in Blitz. You don't have to worry about complicated lines with queen checks, long series of queen checks, and a potential for you know, perpetual checks and other drawing techniques. So just get the queens off here, giving up the bishop, but going for this winning endgame. And let's see, yeah, just bring my king in. I need to round up this pawn, and I probably should have calculated this out. He's only one move away from saving that pawn, which would have made my situation a little bit awkward. I probably am still winning because I have majorities on both sides of the board, but now it's a pretty simple win. So we can just go forward from here. He never really got anything going past this point. His pawns don't ever go anywhere, and he can't stop all of my pawns. So that's how the game ended. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.